Please welcome Ronald Brooks. How you doing, Mr. Brooks?
I'm doing fine, DL. Thanks for having
me. So, we are a heavily medicated country. Drugs, painkillers, coffee. Why should marijuana be different?
You know, marijuana shouldn't. I'm not saying that it should be different, but what we should realize is that we've got tremendous problem with our two legal drugs, alcohol and tobacco. We all know people that have lost their lives to chronic disease associated with tobacco use. We all know people that have lost their families and their livelihoods and their health due to alcoholism. And so I think our point is, why would we want to legalize something else that's a powerful and addicting drug that creates health and other public safety issues?
Okay, but alcohol is obviously more destructive than marijuana. Wouldn't we agree on that?
No, you know what, I'm not sure that I would agree on that. I mean, if you look at the stats of the kids 12 to 18 that are in drug and alcohol treatment, 65% are in there for marijuana. We know that marijuana...
Wait, 65% are in, and alcohol at the same time, right? Not just marijuana. It's just marijuana?
Just marijuana. And if we look at it, we know the kids that suffer from depression, it triggers suicidal thoughts and more depressive thoughts. We know the kids that suffer from attention deficit issues, ADHD and ADD, that it triggers those incidents. We know that it triggers schizophrenia. We know that it reduces immune system.
And under the influence of prescription drugs too, right? Like here's the thing: that almost every symptom that you prescribe to, describe to me, I'm high now, is on the bottle of prescription medication or on the bottle of alcohol. They're the same symptoms, and so I would wonder how you would be able to differentiate between what is alcohol related and what is specifically marijuana related. Not that I'm arguing. Yeah, well, I am arguing for me.
You are arguing, but I mean that's a great question. But the fact is that in places where we have studied these issues, and marijuana is tougher to detect for state troopers on the highway. A lot of drugs are. Alcohol is a little easier to detect. Right. We're just opening another door of intoxication.
But listen, I wouldn't want a pilot or a bus driver or police officer under the influence of cough medicine either. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't want them under the influence of any number of things. And I'm not suggesting that everybody be able to just access it just at will. I think that it should be under the same restrictions as alcohol.
Well, I think really the science is, though. I mean, if you look at a lot of the studies, including the Institute of Medicine study, right. You know, marijuana is addictive and it is dangerous. We have a hard time controlling alcohol. Why would we want to open another door? I mean, we look at the kind of ravage that happens on our nation's college campuses by binge drinking and alcoholism, teen and young adult alcoholism. Why do we want to open another door to another addicting and powerful drug?
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about marijuana now that, you know, in the 60s and 70s had a THC content of a percent or 1.5%, and now can run as high as the low 20s.
Let me ask you something. What about the argument that it could potentially help the economy?
Well, you know, we know that 15 million people use it, but we also know that teen use of marijuana is down to one of its all-time lows. So it's not like the use has crept up.
Because they're too high to answer the survey.
Yeah, it's not, and so, you know, the issue is then we may gain some tax money, but what happens for all the people that go into drug treatment, for all the people that go into the court systems, for the people that develop chronic health disease because of marijuana and other drugs that it may lead to? Not with every person that uses it, but we certainly know there's a gateway potential for this drug.
There's a judge, a retired Orange County Superior Court Justice James Gray. He says that by decriminalizing marijuana, in terms of and ceasing to arrest and prosecute and imprison nonviolent offenders, the state could save $1 billion. He's estimating $1 billion. There's also studies that show that the Netherlands, which obviously has legalized marijuana, that 20%, 40%, 42% of Americans have admitted they use that they've used marijuana. Only 20% of the residents of the Netherlands admitted that they use marijuana. So even where it's available, people just aren't using it like that.
Yeah, and if you've gone to the Netherlands and seen people in the hash or pot cafes, they're sitting around watching cartoons and eating Twinkies. I mean, it's a sad situation.
It's like you're following me around.
I mean, this it's easy for us all to make light of marijuana, but I can tell you, it's our members. We represent 70,000 cops around the country. It's our members that have to go tell parents, hey, I'm sorry your kid died of a drug overdose, not going to die of a marijuana overdose, but if it leads to other drugs, yeah, I'm sorry that your kid was killed in a traffic vehicle accident that was related to drugs, maybe marijuana. I'm sorry your kid was caught on a street corner. You know, even if you buy the legalization argument, if you don't make it 100% available, 100% cheap, and 100% pure, there's always going to be a black market. We've seen that with tobacco, we've seen it with alcohol, and we will continue to have.
But even with alcohol, certainly people would buy black market alcohol because of pricing, or cigarettes because of pricing. But obviously, this is a drug that's going to be around, that people are going to have access to. Why wouldn't the government at least seek to regulate it to some degree? Because we see that decriminalize or making it criminal hasn't worked. The war on drugs hasn't worked, and particularly with this particular drug, it hasn't worked. There are more people in drug for nonviolent drug-related offenses. Obviously the usage isn't abating. So the fight that we're having is not effective. So why continue to have?
Well, you know, I don't think the science and the stats show that, though. I mean, I really think that if you look at all of the stats published by ONDCP. Teen drug use is way down. The only place for teen drug use is up is the use of pharmaceuticals.
But that's still drug use. That's still drug use.
I mean, if we're talking about the issue of marijuana use is down. And we've made great strides on this, great strides with cocaine and meth, ecstasy, and marijuana. You know, we have made significant impact. If we look at people that are in jail, only 16% of the total United States prison population is in jail for a drug offense. Of that, only 3% are in jail for marijuana. Only 1% are in jail for marijuana possession. And I can tell you from experience that 1% was somebody that got caught dealing weed or having weed possessed for sale and then got that plea bargain down. I mean, I think we're really opening a door that while it's fun to have this debate, we're going to lose kids. It's going to increase health care costs and public safety costs. And it's really a bad public policy decision.
You actually think that, no, this is not to be facetious, you actually think that legalizing marijuana, and I'm not, certainly children shouldn't have access to any number of things, that wouldn't be the argument anyway, but a responsible adult, you're trying to say that he, instead of having a glass of wine, he couldn't come home, like even if his back were hurting, and a responsible adult in the privacy of his own home shouldn't be able to have access to marijuana.
Yes.
Well, we agree to disagree. Thank you, man. Thank you, Ronald.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me.